seconds for all the participants who have been here all day at Demo HQ Day, which is very exciting. Everything you need to know about turning your demo operation into reality. And of course, there's no one better, frankly, to leave us today in our last session other than Jonathan, our CEO and co-founder. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
Doing well. Super excited about the event. The feedback we've gotten is fantastic. So please keep sending it. I love seeing messages of people that enjoyed and what sessions they enjoyed. And you know, me as a participant, I learned a lot as myself. So I think it's going really well. I love feedback from the crowd.
Absolutely, 100%. So we'll just quickly introduce this session. So this is introducing the demo maturity model. The perfect demo is a mirror. It should leave your buyers seeing their own reflection in your product. But that's not always reality when buyers want to see product on the first call and you haven't done proper discovery yet. So Jonathan today is going to take you through the demo maturity model, a methodology to help your sales organization determine when to show what so you can minimize the input needed from the buyer and maximize personalization. Jonathan, take it away, my friend.
Fantastic. Great. So this is something I'm very excited about. And we built this model using multiple people here internally. So I'm excited to show it to you today. And so I'll be sharing my screen here. Actually, it's hard for me to see the chat when I share. Let me see if I can fix that. And if not, I'll just, yeah, I think it'll be hard to see the chat, but I'll manage. That'll be okay. Oh, here, I can actually knock it out here. Perfect. Putting it in the chat. Great. Okay, so let's go. So today I want to talk about the demo maturity model, which is essentially something that I've started thinking about with the team, based on all kind of a big surge of interest that I saw from the community. So what am I talking about? So, you know, if you're on LinkedIn, you see a lot of these kind of posts about just give them a demo. Right, and you see this is breezy in this case, but there are a few of these, and you know you see 961 comments, 67 shares, 4,600 likes. Obviously, very engaging. And you know, I'll just read it real quick. She says like, "This has to stop. If people want a demo, give them a demo. Period." Right, and then there's some, you know, there's some more clarification on it, but the main piece is that it really splits the community in two, of everyone that is kind of in sales engineering, even marketing, and many other related fields. And there's really, it feels like there are two sides of this argument. There is an argument that, hey, a great demo must be tailored and it must be after proper discovery. That's kind of being the more traditional voices out there and the way sales has been done. And now you hear a lot about, especially with PLG, PLS, all that stuff. You hear about how you should give a demo as fast as possible. Don't make your buyer sweat. Don't break their back. Think about their experience. It's not nice to be interrogated and to get a lot of questions and go to 2 or 3 meetings before you even see a product when you just want to see the product. And the buyer today is very informed and educated. And you should just show them what it is. And you know, these two voices are very valid. If you go to that discussion I showed before, you look it up on LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of people arguing kind of different flavors of both sides. And today with the demo maturity model, I wanted to kind of see if we can get more nuanced about this rather than just having it black or white. But first I want to go into both sides, and then before we get nuanced, kind of explore those. So on the one, you know, let's start with the kind of this side of just show a product. It's like, you know, it's like buying a shirt. So I heard that even thrown around. Some voices in the community just kind of equated to that. So I would start there and say like, hey, the wrong analogy can actually cause damage, because buying software is not like buying a shirt. Okay, buying software is not like buying a shirt. And if you think about it that way, it might actually hurt you. So, Jonathan, why is software not like buying a shirt? Well, think about software for a second. First, like if we talk about digital products, they're abstract, right? You lose a lot of your senses as a human being: the touch, the smell, even seeing. In a sense, you can see a screen maybe, but you can't see the whole thing. You can't hold it. You can't feel it. It's not tactical. So it's abstract. Usually, it also mirrors kind of a business concept, right? Software alone is not built to just just be in kind of a void. It connects to the business side and activities of people on the ground, and that makes it very hard to comprehend if you think about it as just something that you show. The other piece is that products are, compared to a shirt or anything like that, they're surrounded by walls. The difference between a product and a website is those walls that keep it protected and secure, which is very important. And there's data inside usually that's precious to someone that you don't want to have leaked. And the more mature products are, the more protected and the more kind of carved off they are, which is great to protect them. But walls go both sides. You can't get from the outside in, but also very hard to get from the inside out. So how do you communicate them? Right. So products are like that, and they're really closed off. And it makes it very hard to communicate them out. And then the third piece is that products are built for a sequential kind of linear usage. First time user, and how you kind of, you connect different system, and then you go to the other side. A lot of things are empty in the beginning. They're in different states. If something is missing, you get a prompt about that. They're built for actual usage on the ground, not for showcasing. And so it's very hard to kind of go forward in time and show how a product could look like, or simulate what a product would look like Des kind of mentioned before, like what would it be a year from now? Or different vantage points. How does it look from the user perspective, or how does it look from the admin perspective? Products are not built for that. You're either a user, you're either an admin, right? And if not, if you're one or the other, you're carved. So for the storyteller, that's really hard to explain. And so if you think again about a product like a shirt, obviously that doesn't have any of these complications, which we're kind of referring to here. So what would be a good analogy? Well, to me, it's if you take the same world, it's like it's buying a suit, right? Why is it that way? Well, they're very different use cases. If you come to me and you say, like, you come to the store and I sell suits, and you'd be like, hey, Jonathan, I need a suit right now, and I give you a funeral suit, but you're going to a wedding, it's not going to be great at all, right? So I really need to know what you're trying to do with the suit. To help to be able to help you and guide you within the shop. And suits also, they're modular, right? They need to fit to belts, shoes, cuffs, and other pieces that you might already own or you might actually need. So that's also very important. Suits are way more expensive. If I spend $20 on a shirt I don't like, I'll recover. If I spend $2,000 on a suit and it doesn't fit me, that's like a way bigger thing for me, obviously. And suits are expected to last longer, and they need adjustments and maintenance from time to time. So you see suddenly how this complexity, when you actually put in complexity in this, then suddenly it's not that clear cut that you can come into a store and quickly take any kind of suit that you need and just see it and then be gone. You need some tailoring, right? So the modern voices are not wrong, though, talking about the buyer experience. You need to remember that there's a buyer out there. And the buyers are more informed, and they have options. And every category has competitors and people trying to also serve the customers you're trying to serve. So you need to keep in mind, you can't think about only the traditional way of like, oh, this is how sales being done. We ask a million questions, and then if you qualify, we'll tell you something. No, you need to think about your buyer. You need to protect their time and their needs to be considered, not just because you're kind, because if you want to compete effectively in the modern space with people that want to see product, that are educated, you just need to get better at what you do. Okay, so we kind of dismantled both sides. So let's talk now about the demo maturity model. And here's what I want to do is introduce this and kind of explain how it subtly takes the best of each approach and kind of combines it together in one. And we'll also end on a very practical example that will show you how to bring all this theory home. So, okay, so let's dive into it. So the best analogy I could find for what the perfect demo is, obviously, if I run a company called Demostack, people judge us very harshly for our demos. So our demos have to be good. If I can demo, why should I sell anyone on doing a better demo? So a lot of people ask me as well, like, hey, Jonathan, what does a perfect demo look like? So my answer to that is it's a perfect demo is actually a mirror. If the buyer can see their own reflection in your product, that is a perfect demo. Okay, so the buyer sees their own reflection in your product. And that's kind of the main carve here. And so for that, obviously, you need to know two things and combine them. You need to know thy buyer and you need to know thy product. And so, okay, so what does that exactly entail? So the first thing I would say, especially talking to the SE crowd here, you are amazing storytellers. You may be one of the best product storytellers in the company because you know the product and you know the buyer and you have the skills to kind of do it and perform, right? There's also AEs that do it and others that are very technical, so it's not cut and clear. But for this audience, you can be the best storyteller. And in this example, I picked Tom Cruise, obviously amazing performer. When he is in the movie, that movie sells. That movie is pretty good. If everyone has probably a favorite Tom Cruise movie. But I would argue that you can make a transition and keep being the best storyteller. You don't need to give that up. So you can keep doing that. But you can also become the best director in the company and help architect product stories and help others be storytellers as well in the company and empower them. And you can use your gained storyteller skills here to be that architect, that producer, that director. Why is that great? Well, because first you can leverage way more storytellers than just your team. If you're an SE, then you might have 20 other SEs, 30 other SEs. But how many AEs do you have? How many SDRs, BDRs, product managers, product marketing managers, CSM, C-suite, right? If your CEO goes out and tells a product story, it better be damn good. Usually he's trying to raise millions of dollars, or is in front of the TV or in an event. How can you make these people look really, really good all the time? And so that's kind of your job as a director as well, besides being the storyteller. Besides that, the right story at the right time needs to make sense. And so if you can empower those people to tell the right story, is it a high-level demo? Is it a deep demo? Is it for this persona, that persona? For this kind of segment, that segment? Everything needs to be timed correctly and planned. And that's kind of the work of the architect to make sure that happens. You can also play that role of bringing the buyer perspective into every conversation. We talked about before about protecting their time. Who thinks about the buyer in the process? A lot of times organizations get so convoluted about how they run business, who they hire, who's managing what, and which team is where, versus kind of taking a step back, saying, okay, how does it feel to be a buyer of this thing? Are we managing them right? Are all the context points synchronized? That nobody wants to do, but a lot of time it gets forgotten. Nobody wants to be evil and make the buyer sweat, right? Nobody woke up and said, like, I'm going to make my buyer's life hard today. Nobody said that, but it happens because of convolution, and because many organizations need to talk together, and there's no one consistent storytelling headquarters to actually be able to control how the story is being unfolded for everyone in the process. And then the last piece is all about tracking the right metrics. How do you measure that what you're showcasing is good, is right, hits the buyer, and finds them, right? That's all this stuff needs to be done, and you can take it to the next level and A/B test different stories, A/B test different pieces of the product that came out. It's a very dynamic thing. The market changes, your company changes, competitors change. So the story always needs to be updated and measured and adapted based on what's going on. So if someone needs to do that thing and not use the same old demo that was that helps you sell the last 2 years, because that can change really, really quickly based on all this dynamism in the marketplace. Okay, so once we have this perspective, let's talk about the demo maturity model itself and kind of explore the theory behind it. Okay, so we have a graph here. There's only one graph, don't worry, but this kind of summarizes it all. So on the y-axis, we have the buyer time commitment. How deep or how much are you asking from the buyer, right? And there's essentially three steps. There's immediate access. There's light time commitment, which is maybe a few questions, a short form, or anything like that. And then you can go up to heavy commitment, right? Which you ask them a lot of questions, go deep, and that's also fine to have. On the other side, on the x-axis, we have what kind of demo are you delivering, right? So again, we have here a few steps from a generic demo on the left here, which means Acme, just like the main thing you have, nothing, you didn't touch anything. And then we have the most mirrored demo that you can give, which is essentially the challenge and the use case of the buyer reflected within your product. And you can see the demo efficiency frontier here is, it's all based on, what kind of time commitment are you asking, and then what kind of tailored demo are you delivering, right? And the slope of this graph, that's essentially how efficient you are in transforming buyer knowledge into product showcasing. So the steeper the curve, obviously, the better. What can you learn before? How much can you know the buyer, even before they said the one word to you, to essentially take it more here, asking them still for less, and have a very steep slope, and still show them a personalized demo based on everything you discover about them before they even say a single word. So the more you can kind of approach the frontier here, the more value you see, because you're asking very little from the buyer and you're showing them a lot. And then even if you're starting to ask more and more from your buyer, the payoff for them is immense, because you can actually reflect in your product what their challenge is and bring them home, and they can see the exact same image that they want to see. No imagine if. Don't make them shoulder the cognitive load of understanding how the product will work. That's your job as a seller. And when I say seller, I'm talking about every product storyteller here: product marketing, sales, SDR, SE, everyone. It's your job eventually to shoulder that cognitive load of how would it feel like, what it would be like to be in your product, having used it for a year, and what can I celebrate? And after that year, you need to kind of bring them forward in time. And the more you can do this with little questioning with them, the more they'll be impressed. So kind of to go back to that initial response we saw it very black and white. You either show a demo right away, or you ask them a lot of questions and show them a demo, right? And here what I'm arguing is, you can show someone that wants immediate access, a very generic demo maybe, or maybe even one or two notches up, but someone you actually have every engagement with, make it pay off for them. For every one questions you have, customize a lot in the demo. Great. So let's bring this down into a real example here, right? Let's bring it down to earth and see how that will work. So I completely envision here a use case, right? So let's say my buyer is Jean David from she's a global head of partnerships at Stripe, right? Let's say she signed up, or I call her, or whatever. She wants to see a demo from me. Great. Now my discovery, I kind of separate into two pieces. Right? One is like, before I even talk to her, right, I can see she's managing strategic partnerships at Stripe. I don't need to be a genius to do that. I could see it at one glance. So I already know quite a bit about her. Obviously, you can get even deeper than that. And then, with my discovery, let's say I ask her one or two questions, and then I also discovered she has issues with partners, let's say, especially in Germany in this case. So this is no as buyer. And actually, this information can be glanced a lot with modern tools like Revenue Base and Clearbit and all that piece. I can actually enrich my knowledge about my buyer a lot before I even open my mouth to work with them. And secondly, I need to know my product. So in this case, I am selling RevPower, which is a CRM, and we have a partner management module. Right, so let's start to bring this home and see how my demo would look like across my conversations with John, or depending on my discovery. Great. So the starting point is my generic demo. Right, I haven't discovered anything yet, and the demo I'm showing is customized. Right, so we have here Acme and Jane Doe, and I don't know anything about her. Well, I would argue that you don't need to even show Acme even when you don't know anything about her, right? Because you can immediately go to this second level. You can have the generic, you never have to use a generic demo ever again. There's just no excuse for that. You can immediately at least make her feel home, right? This is very easy to change. But immediately I put in Stripe, I put in her name, right? And it's personalized. At least she knows that the demo I pulled up is about her, and that is without doing any magic or any crazy discovery at all. Right, so this is kind of level 2, the personalized and branded demo. Now, I would argue that you can even do level 3. Again, you can even put that on the website, right? So even without any discovery, and especially if you're going to show it to her and have a discovery with her, make sure you have the demo at least showcasing the industry and company size, right? So the pipeline volume should make sense for a company like Stripe, and the open opportunities should also make that a thing. And quarterly is probably how they look at this, because that's how usually enterprise companies look at your dashboard as your partner management dashboard. And you can put this stuff in, and immediately that makes more sense. Imagine you had 5 opportunities here, right? For if you come here and she sees like, oh, 5 partners, that's not my use case. It feels like so detached. And she might ask like, is this for this? Can this handle my size? Just having the right number of opportunities here that would make sense for her. Such an easy change, but immediately brings us to level 3 of the demo maturity model. And again, this is without opening my mouth, without talking to her, just like my basic view of who she is. This is already a much more tailored demo. And now if I want to take it a level above, right, let's put in her persona. So of course, now I know she is in partnership. So I want to focus on the partners. I want to change here the word partner. I want to talk to partner opportunities versus any kind of generic thing I might have had there. And I want to focus on that. So again, this is, you could do it outside before even talking to her. And that's where you make the buyer feel very welcome again, and where you get that steepness of the curve because you customize so much and you reflect it back in product before she said anything. And then the last piece, well, that probably needs a conversation, right? On discovering that Germany is an issue. That's a thing. But hey, well, how cool would it be if, while talking to her, I can already have Germany on there, the map pulled up, the tables talking about there, or maybe it's a second demo. I can do it on the fly. But when I discovered the depth, then I can actually reflect that in the product so much better. And now when she comes into this demo, right, like as a seller, I know my buyer and I know my product. So there's no excuse to not merging the two together. If you're doing discovery, if you ask her about Germany, you ask her about her problems, she mentioned Germany, and you're not reflecting it back within your own product, to me, you're not doing your job. Because reflecting it in product is the ultimate way to show that you understand your buyer. In the future, I also believe that a demo would be way more than that. It would be a blueprint of a conversation of you and the buyer and seller to agree on what they're trying to achieve with the demo. So the demo would be another asset next to a contract that shows like, what are we trying to do together? What are we trying to achieve together? And a demo is the blueprint. So if this is what we're trying to achieve, and this is why Stripe should actually buy my product, great. Let's use that. Let's make sure we have the right conversation. And the last piece of discovery that you get should be reflected in always. So you should always be current with what you discover and where the conversation goes. And there's no excuse to not reflect it back. Awesome. So the key takeaways, and this is what I want to leave you with here today, is you need to reflect the buyer in your product story. And the best way to do that is to reflect them in the product. So protect your buyer's time. It's holy. And the more you think about it that way, the more buyers will want and love to engage with you and see value in engaging with you. Even if they don't buy the first time, they will get value because you're talking about them. They see that you care. They see that you're not running a process, but you're actually trying to serve their needs. When you do discovery, it should be always reciprocal, right? Meaning you discover about them and you reflect it back in your product. It can't be a one-way street, else you feel like you're in interrogation. You can't just ask a million questions and then send someone to a next step and the next step and the next step. It has to be reciprocal. Actually, when it's reciprocal, it becomes a conversation. It's way more pleasant. Humans love conversations. They hate interrogations. It's exactly the difference between an interrogation and a conversation is reciprocity, right? So be reciprocal with when you show demo and product, and make sure that you keep that a two-way street going all the time. And again, if you see information and you captured it as a seller, it's important to reflect that in your product. If you don't, then why did you waste your time? Why did you ask it? Just for fun, or write it in a note somewhere for your pricing or your contract somewhere in deep in Salesforce? It's helpful for sure. Take notes. That's great, but reflect it in product. That's the best way to show I see you and I understand you, and here's what we can do together. That's it. Hopefully this was clear. I will look at some questions in the chat and see if I can answer these, or if there's anything there. If you have more, then definitely put them in. Let me stop sharing here. Fantastic. Let's see if there's anything in there. Yep. I don't see a specific question in the chat. Let me know if I missed anything, but I think hopefully it was clear and analogies are clear. And if you want to know more about the demo maturity model or Demostack in general, you want a consultation for your team, just to see where you're at today and where your demo headquarters can actually go and what your challenges are with your demo ops today, feel free to come on the website, demostack.com, sign up. Love to take you to a demo. I always tell our sellers, when you are showing Demostack, you also show how to run a demo, right? So just having a demo with us is usually very eye-opening to see like what it could be. And we're trying to be on the bleeding edge of this stuff. So we love to talk to people. We love to be consultative. No hard sell, but really try to see where you're at, where we're at. If there's something we can help with, feel free to come. Happy to share anything you saw today. We'll share some videos and content around that. I really appreciate everyone here on coming on and on the chat and giving us comments and feedback. It's very, very valuable. And if you have something that you think we missed or you want us to talk about for next time, also let us know. We'd love your feedback. And with this, I will close this last session for today. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And again, love your feedback. Add me on LinkedIn, chat me. Love to hear from you. Have a great day.